Alright, so this is Lord Swiss SFR, right? So today we're going to be talking about structural liquidity with no sweep, right? So you can just subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter as well. So let's dive into the few details. Okay, I believe that most of you have known what is structural liquidity. We have structural liquidity with a sweep of a high and a break of structure, sweep of a low and a break of structure. Most times some of you guys get confused on how to identify a structural liquidity, whether it must have a sweep and whether it must not have a sweep, right? So today I'm going to be explaining about structural liquidity with no sweep. So welcome once again. My name is Lord Swiss SFR, and I trade only one pair. I trade only GBP CHF. Alright, this strategy only works on GBP CHF, and I trade only GBP CHF. You know what they're saying, that focus on only one or two pair if you want to see consistency. So I've mastered in and out of GBP CHF using the smart GBP CHF using the smart money method of trading. Alright, so let's dive into the full details while I explain to you how to identify a structural liquidity with no sweep of the previous high or sweep of the previous low, as most of you know. Alright, so most traders wait for liquidity sweep, you understand? But what if I told you that price can move aggressively without any sweep of the previous high or sweep of the previous low? And when I'm talking about sweep of the previous high and low, let me show you guys what I mean. Most of you guys are conversant with this, right? Price sweep the previous high here and broke structure, right? Then give you a structural liquidity, right? Then come to POI and they sell, and this is for the buy. Then this is for the sell, I mean. Then for the buy, we have the buy here. Alright, there's a mistake here. Okay, sweep of the previous low, break of structure. Then price gave you a structural liquidity, come to your POI and the buy. Alright, so that is it. Most of you are conversant with this. Alright, most of you are conversant with. So but I can tell you that most times you don't you don't always have a sweep of the previous high and the low. Sometimes price can just move in aggressively like this, right? Then come to your high and then sells down. So I call this shock liquidity with no sweep. Okay, so now let's look at the confluences and the validity behind this setup. All right, let me clean up all these ones before I can. Let me clean up first. My brush up in trading in my backtesting software here doesn't work like that. So now coming back to what we said earlier, as we have structural liquidity with no pattern, let's look at the buy pattern. Okay, all right. All right, so now most times when you come to your chart, you will not be able to find a structural liquidity that has a sweep of the previous high or a sweep of the previous low. You will find out that most times you will see in a situation where price just move aggressively to just give you a straight tree break of structures, right? And this setup works when it is in a high and it's a general. It doesn't work on only GBP CHF. It works on all pairs, all currency pair, and the validity here is that for this to actually work, it must. So it works when this comes in a high probability trade setup, right? When you see it in a high in an A plus setup. Now let's go to the charts and for you to see what I mean. Let me delete some things here. Right now, as you can see right here, I have done my top-down analysis, right? And this is it here. You can see it in a high probability trade setup. Let me use my so this is it. It comes in a high probability trade setup. If this type of setup comes up like this, if this type of setup, well, let me clean out everything here and explain to you guys what I mean. Just give me some few minutes. Let me clean up everything here so you will understand what I mean. Very well. All right. So what I mean is that for this to work, for this setup to give you a 100% process, it has to come in a very high probability trade setup, like an A plus setup, right? So this is what I mean. All right. So it has to come in a very high trade setup only. You understand me? Now, if it occurs by giving you a low probability trade setup, it might fail. I don't know if you guys are understanding me. If it occurs in a low probability trade setup, it might fail. Why? Following in a situation that it doesn't have a sweep, that it's just a straight break of structures without a sweep, but once you spot it in a high probability trade setup like this, it will give you a maximum result. So let's look at when I said if it occurs in a low probability trade setup, something like this. Yeah, something like this. Mind you, price can just go up here and take this POI here out. Why? Because it occurs in a low probability setup here. If it occurs like this, most times it will work, but it will not work most times, but most times it will work, and those most times is just 2% or 3% of the times it occurs. But once occurs in a high probability trade setup like this and giving you an A plus setup, it works 100% of the time, right? Now, what are the confluences behind this? What are the confluences behind this? Now, after you have done your top-down analysis, or down to top analysis, as you may call it, and this occurs in a high probability trade setup, what are the confluences here? The confluences here is that this liquidity here, because this serves as your liquidity to this zone, this liquidity here must be inside 50%. Let me structure the buys, the one with buy setup. Alright, so this is okay. Alright, so alright, So the confluences here comes with this liquidity being inside 50%, right? How do we know if this liquidity here is inside 50%? We make use of our Fibonacci. We measure from this low right here to this break of structure right here. Alright, and you can see that this structural liquidity here is inside 50%, right? And the price we can take it out right from our POI right here before going up. Same thing here. Use our feed, measure from this high to this break of structure here. Price will come, take it out. Alright, take this structural liquidity out, react from our POI and sell down. Alright, so let's go to the chart and let me show you an example of what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so now this is it right here. Alright, now you can see a very straight break of structure here. Alright, you can see a very straight break of structure right here. Okay, and then another straight break of structure, making this a very high probability to set up. I don't know if you guys are understanding here. Very straight break of structure, making this a very high probability trade setup. And remember what I said, this type of setup is only valid once it occurs in a high probability trade setup right here. You can see it is only valid once it occurs in a very probability trade setup right here. So that is it. That is it. Once price comes to your POI, stretch out your position tool. I risk a little to make high. So if this trade, let's assume we enter this trade, we are already milking almost 1 to 7 RR here. So this is it. This is a setup here. So once you see this trade setup, make sure that it occurs in a high probability trade setup. If it occurs in a low probability trade setup, do not trade it unless you want to risk your capital on a very low trade setup like that. So what am I saying here? This type of setup has to occur in a very high probability trade in an A+ setup for each to give you what you want. Alright, so that is all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be dropping in more video like this, and I trade only GBP CHF, and as a trader I will advise you to focus on 1 or 2 currency pair, but for your sanity, for your own sanity and for not to blow your account often, pick out one pair, but test it, find out the patterns that works in that pair, and give it your all. But test, journal, study, and you will find your own consistency. So that is it. So do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me up for more videos like this. And I told you guys earlier before the video that I have mastered in and out of GBP CHF, and that is the only pair I find consistency in it. Alright, so see you guys next time, and don't also forget to subscribe for more YouTube content like this. This to actually work, it must come in a high probability trade